dead. Uganda set for fast COVID immunization first phase to cover 26.7 million Ugandans. Chinese President Xi Jinping and his U.S. counterpart Joe Biden talk over phone. And in sports, near perfect bleak signs out, Uganda Olympic Committee to elect new leader. Hello once more. President Yoweri Museveni has directed the judiciary to provide nationwide judicial services up to sub-county level. In this report, President Museveni had earlier reiterated his stand that since there are administrative units at sub-county level, including chiefs, forest officers, veterinary officers and medical assistants, it would be important to have a judicial officer as well at the sub-county level.
Margaret Appiah, swear in the name of the Almighty God that I will well and truly exercise the judicial functions entrusted to me and will do right to all manner of people in accordance with the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda as by law established and in accordance with the laws and usage of the Republic of Uganda without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
Today you've given me an additional weapon in my arsenal, but of course we ask for more. Our people need judicial service, and when you graced our new law here, the first president in this country, Your Excellency, to come and grace the important new law here for the judiciary. When you promised us that you would ensure that our people see the rendering of justice up to the sub-county level, you couldn't have given us a better prize than ensuring that our people of Uganda enjoy safe water, enjoy local governance, and similarly enjoy the administration of justice right up to their doorstep. You couldn't have done anything greater than that one that day. And we are enormously beholden to you for that.
For me, I would want to appeal to the judiciary that offenses like murder, like rape, those two, maybe even defiling young children. I think for those, even when we don't have enough resources, this one should always be got out of the way, because that one removes enmity from the society, removes enzugu, the vendetta. The vendetta. The other issue, the wrong, the land, the what, those are problems. But for the African mentality, certainly for the Banyankore, it is not the same problem like blood. So I welcome Justice Appiah to join the bench. Thank you for bringing also Lakwara. Apoyo Bino, Apoyo Teach. Thank you very much.
One person has been confirmed dead after a UPDF jet ranger crashed in Entebbe, Wakiso district. A jet ranger which crashed immediately after takeoff was piloted by 2 cadet trainees on a mutual training flight. Brigadier General Flavia Biekwaso, the UPDF spokesperson, confirmed the incident and also identified the deceased as Captain Karo Businje, the pilot captain, and cadet pilot Abdallah Weka, who is nursing injuries at St. Mary's Hospital, Chisum. the UPDF is still investigating the circumstances that led to the crash.
Traffic came to a standstill along Airport Road in Entebbe after a UPDF jet ranger crashed, leaving one person dead. The Uganda People's Defense Forces jet ranger with 2 crew on board dropped minutes after takeoff near Spina Beach in Entebbe, Wakiso district. Speaking in a phone interview, Brigadier General Flavia Biekwaso, the UPDF spokesperson, confirmed the incident, saying the pilot captain, identified as Karo Businje, died shortly after at Chisubi Hospital, while the cadet captain, Abdallah Weka, is still nursing wounds.
The pilot captain has passed on a few minutes ago, and the cadet pilot is being stabilized. The CT scan that has been made shows that he did get internal injuries, but is not yet very stable. The dead body is in Chisubi Hospital, and the cadet is also hospitalized in Chisubi. It was on a training session, so it was a mutual training flight, to use the exact words from the technical people.
Brigadier General Flavia Biekwaso says investigations into the circumstances that led to the plane crash have commenced.
It's subject to further investigations, really, especially about the cause. What could have caused this? Shall give the details in due course.
The incident comes just a few days after a UPDF helicopter crashed in Somalia, injuring 4 Ugandan soldiers. In January 2020, a UPDF jet ranger AF-302 came down in Butambala district, killing 2 soldiers instantly. Daniel Mugoya, UBC News.
And the Supreme Court has given the petitioner and respondents in the presidential election petition filed by Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert timelines to be followed in the progression of the petition. This was after the scheduled pre-hearing session of the case failed to kick off this morning as the petitioner asked for more time to file affidavits. Our reporter has more.
Hearing of the presidential election petition filed by Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert versus Yoweri Museveni, the Attorney General and the Electoral Commission has failed to kick off as planned.
For pre-hearing,
Court had set aside this Thursday as the date for pre-hearing, but the petitioners asked for a rain check.
Is to have the pre-hearing session adjourned to another convenient date as you made it is where we undertake to be more organized, prepared and definitive in how we move.
The Chief Justice Alfonso Winyidolo highlighted that the time frame for hearing and disposing the presidential election petition is strict and dictated by the Constitution.
It is really important that we abide by this timeline, because we may end up with a crisis.
To this end, he issued timelines that ought to be followed by all parties in this case. The petitioner has been given an additional period of up to Sunday, 14th February 2021 to file all affidavits. The respondents have up to Saturday 20th this month to file affidavits. The petitioner has been asked to file all rejoinders on the 23rd of February 2021. On the 24th of February 2021, court will have the pre-hearing session. The 25th and 26th has been set aside for cross-examination and presenting of electronic evidence. The petitioner will on 27th of February 2021 file the written submissions. The respondents will respond to this on 2nd March 2021. The petitioner will file a rejoinder on the 4th of March 2021. On 5th March 2021, each party will be given 30 minutes to make oral submissions and 20 minutes for rejoinders. Court will then retire and use the duration of 7th to 18th March 2021 to write the final judgment.
So everybody will do everything that needs to be done to ensure that we keep within this time frame if we are to render justice in the matter before us.
This case, like many other presidential petitions all over the world, tend to be promoted as face-offs between lawyers from the camps involved. The Chief Justice advised against this. He also asked them to desist from discussing the case in the media.
The petitioner has chosen to come to court. He has not chosen to go and present his case in a marketplace. Leave the courts to do their work. And this begins from council. I have seen in the print media, I have seen on TV, some people appearing, we shall defeat this case. This is the forum where you can defeat the case. This is the forum where you can succeed to overturn the outcome of the presidential elections that was held on the 14th and declared on the 16th. Nowhere else.
The petitioner in this case, Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert, alleges that the 2021 presidential elections weren't held in full compliance of the law and wants court to nullify Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's win. Samuel Senono, UBC News.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health is preparing to conduct the first phase of vaccination against COVID-19. Now, this phase will cover a total of 26.7 million categorized as vulnerable, representing 20% of the population. Our reporter has more on this.
Uganda has placed an order to the Serum Institute of India for 18 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccine to kickstart the vaccination against COVID-19.
After careful scientific and logistical considerations, Uganda opted for the AstraZeneca vaccine from Serum Institute of India because the vaccine technology has been tested for over a century and the vaccine fridges in our health facilities meet the storage temperature requirements of 2 to 8 degrees. It is for the same reason that the Chinese vaccine is being considered for use in Uganda.
Though the delivery date of the vaccine is not yet known, the Ministry of Health confirms that the plan is to start with vulnerable population of 26.7 million people, which is 20% of the country's population.
35 to 40% of the vaccine, which is 1,420,800 doses, will arrive in the first quarter, which may be any time before the end of March. And 60 to 65%, which is 2,130,000 doses, will be available in the second quarter, which is any time between April to June.
However, the private sector in Uganda has not yet been cleared to participate in COVID-19 vaccination. The mutation of the virus is presenting new variants, a factor that might interrupt the vaccination process globally.
And you should know that always these viruses change, they mutate. Yeah, it's common for these viruses, especially the RNA viruses. But what has been strange with the variants the minister talked about in UK, South Africa, and Brazil, there were many mutations at the same time, and some of these mutations were in the spike protein, and they are leading to an increase in transmission. And for South Africa, leading to non-sensitivity to the vaccine. The recent viruses we have sequenced in Uganda, we are also seeing mutations coming in, including mutations in the spike region. We have not seen the variants that have the 501 mutation that has been reported elsewhere, but our viruses are also mutating. And what we are going to do is to continue monitoring.
Studies are, however, ongoing in laboratories around the world to confirm whether these variants do not respond to the vaccines. There are now reports that AstraZeneca vaccine may not be effective against the South African variant. Scientists may therefore change the composition of the antigens and the vaccines to address this or use alternative vaccines.
On a good note, Uganda is experiencing a drop in the number of COVID-19 cases, but the Ministry of Health still warns the public against being reluctant, saying another wave of the pandemic has been predicted.
The following numbers, therefore, represent a punctuation consistent with our seasonal variation patterns that is likely to be followed by emergence of what we shall consider as the second wave.
Uganda's cumulative number of COVID-19 confirmed cases stand at 39,911 and 328 deaths. Adia Nakute, UBC.
And Dr. Jane Rhoda, Minister for Health, has declared that the country is on high alert and has intensified risk communication after a new case of Ebola was detected in the DRC, in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Dr. Jane Rhoda disclosed this while addressing the media on the status of COVID-19 in the country at the media center. Now, Ebola, the deadly virus, is once again threatening the Democratic Republic of Congo 3 months after the health authorities in the country declared the last outbreak vanquished. The World Health Organization said in a statement that its epidemiologists were investigating that more than 70 contacts of the victim had been identified and that disinfection was underway of the sites she was known to have visited.
As you're all aware, Uganda shares a border at Bwera with the eastern side of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The distance is approximately 72.6 kilometers, thereby putting Uganda at high risk of importing Ebola virus disease. In light of this, the country has heightened surveillance and preparedness, and the following activities are being undertaken to prevent the importation of Ebola virus disease in Uganda. Activated the Ebola virus disease district task force, and 3, we dispatched a team of rapid response people to Kaweesi district, and they will be giving us a comprehensive information on the situation. Good morning, members of the force.
Uganda has registered over 1,000 corruption cases in 2020 despite the COVID-19 lockdown, making it higher than 669 in 2019. According to the Deputy IGG, George Bamugemerere, the cases could have been higher than the reported if it was not because of the COVID-19 pandemic. From Parliament, Philippa Guta with the report.
A report by the Inspectorate of Government to Parliament indicates that in the year 2020, Uganda registered 1,707 corruption cases, and about 1 billion shillings was recovered in cash, while 1 billion was recovered from the seizing of assets. Of the 1,707 cases reported, a report by the Inspectorate of Government to Parliament indicates that in the year 2020, Uganda registered 1,707 corruption cases, and about 1 billion shillings was recovered in cash, while 1 billion was recovered from the seizing of assets. Of the 1,707 cases reported, 35 suspects were recommended for prosecution. Another 35 were recommended for arrest, 65 were dismissed from work, and 29 were interdicted, while the rest were referred for administration actions. Some of the high-profile cases include the alleged mismanagement of refugee funds by Office of the Prime Minister officials, alleged corruption practices by the 2 directors of Parliament, and alleged mismanagement of funds by officials at Uganda Police Force. According to the Deputy IGG George Bamugemerere, failure to supervise government officials by their superior is the biggest cause of corruption in the country.
Many of the people stealing public funds actually do not believe they are stealing. In our experience, people believe that they are borrowing money to solve local problems. It could be a wedding, a funeral, school fees, and so on. And they don't steal in big amounts. They steal 10 million, and they keep hoping somebody will pick up the matter and say, well, where is the money? When they look and nobody has asked, then they borrow some more, another 20 million, then 50, until the amounts become so big that they can no longer pay it back. And maybe that's when the fraud is actually discovered. So the issue of supervision. Accounting officers releasing money for projects and then not asking the people they've handed the money what they've done with the money has been a problem.
The Ombudsman also urged Parliament to speed up the process of passing the Leadership Code Act into law in order to strengthen measures of fighting corruption among government officials.
So the bill, I think, is currently at committee stage, but it's important that it is passed in time because in March, next March, we are entering a declaration period. And we had wished to ensure that this declaration happens when the tribunal has the full jurisdiction and the tools to hear cases of those who may not comply, because there will be cases of people who may not comply.
The Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga, urged the institution to pull up the socks in fighting the cyber-related corruptions like the cryptocurrency fraud.
The other area, cryptocurrency, Ngonzi schemes. You know, you really feel helpless when Ugandans come here, they have been cheated, they have been fleeced, and, you know, they can't get help. And somehow, the government, the Ministry of Finance does not appear to take much interest in what is happening. But people are being fleeced in this country in different ways. So I think it's an area that we need to work on to see that our people are more sensitized. But also Ugandans are very gullible. When I had people here crying, one officer had retired and got 140 million shillings as retirement benefits. And then he was put this kind of a Ponzi scheme. The first month he got money, the second month he got, the third month the people disappeared.
Philip Aguta, UBC News in Kampala.
Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development has been warned against implementing a proposal to tax bank withdrawal transactions. Speaker of Parliament Rebecca Kadaga calls for scrutiny of the proposal by Parliament before its implementation. This uproar results from a social media letter confirmed to be from the Ministry of Finance proposing a tax on bank withdrawals. Let's take a look.
We would appreciate to receive your opinion and data not later than Friday, 12th February 2021.
This is the letter that is causing more alarm than whispers amongst the public. Confirmed to have been authored by Ministry of Finance, it proposes a tax on automated teller machine withdrawal transactions. The move has neither attracted nor been welcomed by the listening ears of members of Parliament.
Ugandans are paying quite big sums of money on mobile money, and it is because of the increment of that tax without us knowing. Madam Speaker, yesterday, social media was awash with another proposal to charge cash withdrawals.
Because we have seen so many things that have gone on without Parliament passing them, yet they are mandatory to be commanded or to take place after Parliament has allowed.
Whereas State Minister for Finance, David Bahati, says it is still an internal matter under consultation, the public wants answers.
That in line with the rules of this House, we focus on something that is before the House or that is a proposal by law. But if this House is going to be discussing internal memos within the government department, it will be a tough job to do.
Maybe the minister should tell us what should we tell Ugandans, that it's going to behave and happen the way it has been happening before, because beaten once, right, Honorable Speaker, you know what happens next. So Ugandans are crying because they know it is going to happen.
It is at this point that the Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga, has warned against actualizing the move before going through Parliament.
Can we have an undertaking that you will not implement this before you come here for our authority? That's what we want.
Madam Speaker, we have never implemented any tax before the approval of Parliament, and we shall never implement any tax measure before it is approved by Parliament.
Currently, Ugandans part with some tax on some mobile money transactions. Members of Parliament do not want to see this happen to bank withdrawals. Henry Okurut, UBC.
I put the question.
UPDF Chief of Defense Forces General David Muhoozi has assured Ugandans, especially people living in Karamoja sub-region, that the security is tight as different security organs remain in total control of the state of affairs. General Muhoozi was officiating at the security meeting held at Moroto Barracks on constant cattle raids in the districts of Moroto, Napak, Kotido, among others. The meeting was attended by State Minister for Karamoja, Moses Chizige, MPs, RDCs, LC5 leaders and security officials from the sub-region.
Between 2001 to 2010, registered successes with over 40,000 guns recovered from the cattle rustlers and warriors. Relative peace returned to Karamoja sub-region. However, 2 years, the region seems to have gradually got back to square zero, with small pockets of cattle rustlers and armed warriors getting armed and resorting to cattle raiding, a chapter that security agencies of the state thought had closed. Intelligence clues indicated that most affected districts now include Kotido, Moroto, Napak, Karenga and Kabong. During the first security meeting in Kotido district, attended by State Minister for Karamoja Affairs Moses Chizige, 3rd Division Commander Joseph Baliku Dembe, LOC5 chairpersons, LOC3 chairpersons, RDCs and other security officials from Kotido and Kabong, leaders pinned some LODUs and UPDF officers who borrow out guns to the raiders. Some leaders here also faulted their colleagues of having a hand in the raids.
I'm told by the elder that only 2 LDUs.
The State Minister for Karamoja Affairs Moses Chizige, however, holds a different opinion of working as a team to end cattle raids in Karamoja. Leaders cited some of the issues which should be done to ensure peace in the area, like branding animals per district, reviving peace committees, among others.
Maybe the rest of Uganda, but they can maintain themselves. We are the limitation to our development and the development.
Sharing of information within our community, starting from the peace committees in the sub-counties to the chairperson of security.
However, some leaders say that cattle rustling is not about to end soon, and as community members volunteer to offer intelligence information about community members in possession of guns.
They are protected class even when there is disarmament. That means there's something that's not.
We speak to our brothers who are doing all this. We go back home and speak to ourselves. Where did these children come from? From whose home? Do they have an island? We did.
We are not the only ones who can find stop. My people of G. Our name is Rhoda.
Due to the continuous raids in Karamoja sub-region, the CDF General David Muhoozi held a security meeting at Moroto Military Barracks, attended by State Minister Karamoja Affairs Moses Chizige, LOC5 leaders, MPs, RDCs and security officials from Karamoja sub-region. General David Muhoozi assured Ugandans of security as the security organs remained in total control of the state of affairs in Karamoja sub-region.
With an uninterrupted peace speaks to the idea that peace can last, peace can be durable for Karamoja. But what we need to do is to cushion that peace. And what we need to do, I think, like happened in this meeting, is we need to reevaluate where.
According to statistics from the UPDF, 72 guns, 956 rounds of ammunition and 5,819 livestock were recovered since September last year. The statistics also show that 9,157 livestock were stolen, while 357 warriors were captured. The raids here are mainly tribal, such between the Jai from Kotido, Matheniko from Moroto, Dodoth and Bokora from Napak, Labor from Abim, and the Pokots of Amdat district. Story compiled by Maureen Iga For UBC News.
Members of Parliament have tasked Internal Affairs Ministry to provide a detailed explanation of what transpires in the Minerals Protection Unit of Police. This follows claims of sectarian deployment in the unit, which some legislators say is unfair. This was shortly after Minister for Internal Affairs, General Jeje Odong, presented a report on the same matter, which to some MPs was not convincing.
The dangers of illegal mining and to do with the things to do with environmental protection.
To collaborate with other stakeholders responsible for managing minerals in the country. 6. Sensitize communities on safe mining, environmental impact and dangers of illegal mining. And 7. Liaise with the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources in ensuring compliance to the standards guiding the mining industry.
Of the amount of money we collect from gold has been a subject of speculation in international media. That at one time, gold came on an aircraft at Entebbe and then was re-exported as if it was originating from Uganda. And the minister has said there is a part of the police mining unit. Maybe this is the mining he's talking about, that gold can come from Venezuela and repackaged as if it is originating from Uganda, and that's why we have a police mining unit at Entebbe. Honorable Minister, you might have forgotten that also mining is also part of your police, so you can add mining role. Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, I wish to know the criteria they are using to deploy these police officers.
When there is an activity and there is a concern in that activity, that is how we happen to have deployed our police officers in the 6 areas I have mentioned in my report.
And I was waiting for the minister to confirm or deny the composition as he had stated it. But it's also true that the Committee on Natural Resources, in their report, the report from Movende and the report from Buheju, have taken issue with the conduct of the Mineral Protection Police. So both interests are legitimate.
In a sad turn of events, at least 5 people have, I beg your pardon, rather, at least 5 people have survived death but sustained severe injuries in a fatal accident involving a vehicle registration number UAW 485X in Nansana along Kampala-Hoima Road. Now, the cause of the accident has been attributed to overloading of a truck with sacks of maize. It is said that the driver lost control and rammed into onlookers. Let's take a look.
Strange but true. The accident occurred last night at 10 p.m. The life was never lost, but severe injuries were sustained. According to eyewitnesses, a trucker with a registration number UAW 485X carrying sacks of maize was overspeeding, lost control and rammed into 5 cars, one a BMW BF 739F, a taxi UBD 333F, among others. However, at the time of this incident, the traffic jam was also tight. People were seen trying to save lives as offloading the sacks of maize aboard the truck. Often, people have criticized police of getting on the scene of crime late, but this time round the story was different. Police was on spot. It took lead in ensuring that breakdown trucks were timely at the scene to the vehicles which were caught in the incident. The swiftness of police also eased the flow of traffic, while those injured were rushed to the hospital. Police spokesperson Kampala Metropolitan Patrick Konyang confirmed the fatal tragedy.
The registration number UAW 485X Fuso Fighter, which was carrying maize from Hoima heading to the city center. When it reached Seven Sisters, it failed to brake and rammed into 4 cars. We were rushed to various clinics and Lago Hospital. Unfortunately, we received sad news that one passed on, and is called Ivan Bolwana. The body is at City Mortuary for postmortem.
I'm Ivan Juko, reporting for UBC here in Nansana.
Over 200 people will benefit from the Master's Craft Person Assessment and International Certification Program. The project is funded by Private Sector Foundation Uganda and a Windowful supported by the Government of Uganda. The aim of the project is to introduce international certification of Master's Crafts persons in the master craftsmanship through recognition of prior learning in Uganda. The project will be implemented in 10 districts of the country. Let's take a look.
In the bid to have skilled labor force in the construction industry, Private Sector Foundation is to skill over 200 people under the Master Craftsperson Assessment Foundation, funded by the Government of Uganda. The primary target group for this action are the artisans willing to become masters in the 4 selected trade of plumbers, masons, painters and tailors.
It's important that people get skilled. They get appropriate skills, both in application, and most of the people that we see in the field do not have the science. They have the art, they have the skill. So today we're witnessing a program that has trained painters in gaining skills, and we hope that these skills will be applied once they go out into the field.
Dr. Ruth Musoke, head of Skill Development Facility, noted that the project will address the issue of unemployment in the country and also skilling of Ugandans to ensure that the labor force can meet the demands of the construction industry.
This means for Ugandan is that once you've gone through this program, whether educated or not, you can work in any part of the world. And this is what we want. We are trying to address the issue of youth unemployment. A number of time people never know what government is doing, and this is what government is doing through PSFU to ensure that we have Ugandans that are able to go and work anywhere in the world. Because the issue of unemployment is real. The issue of having people that leave school without a skill is also real, where you have a degree and it's not giving you food on the table. So this particular initiative is actually going to assist a lot.
The project will be implemented in 10 districts of Mbarara, Wakiso, Kasese, Jinja, Hoima, Lira, Kampala, Iganga and Masindi, with the aim of skilling up the workforce that will tap into the oil and gas local content priorities, focusing on the construction of the supportive infrastructure.
Recognition of prior learning is a new program in Uganda, and Cambridge has been delivering that in so many other countries all over the world. So I want to assure you that the quality standards that we are bringing on board for one to qualify for an international certification is paramount.
Train more than 10,000 painters every year across Uganda. And again, we have a chance here now to associate ourselves with this project. And we hope that the 50 painters, I think, they would really gather some new skills, and it's great to see that they will get international certification.
The project is implemented by the consortium of MAMSA Consulting Limited, Uganda Small Scale Industries Association, in conjunction with the Key Worth Consultants and Educare Solutions affiliated to Cambridge International College, United Kingdom. Zahara Abigawa, UBC.
And after according a decent send-off to the fallen Owobusobozi Bisaka Ruhanga, the founder of Faith in Unity, his followers congratulated President-elect Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, President-elect Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, for honoring the fallen Owobusobozi Bisaka Ruhanga and recognizing his contributions to national development and spiritual upbringing of his followers. Omukwenda Kusemererwa, leader of the Ruhoka parish in Kenjojo district, revealed that President Museveni's victory came at a time when they were mourning their fallen leader, who passed on late in January. Kusemererwa said that now that the send-off celebrations of Owobusobozi Bisaka were finished, it was ideal for the Unity faith to join other Ugandans in celebrating President Museveni's victory for his 6th term in office. Meanwhile, the Chancellor of Kaiwa International University, Professor Simeon Kaiwa, has called on church leaders to respect and exhibit forgiveness to any Christian who repents honorably. He says under the Christian Transcendent Doctrine, once someone has publicly purified himself, he or she is free from sin and is obliged to perform church duties. Professor Kaiwa was giving his personal perspective on the repentance of former Archbishop of Church of Uganda, Stanley Ntagali.
The Chancellor of Kaiwa International University, Professor Simeon Kaiwa, says religious leaders should flaunt ethics of self-control while performing their duties. Professor Kaiwa was responding to recent public repentance of former Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, Stanley Ntagali.
It's very important for people to understand the virtues of self-control. Ministers in churches, leaders in churches, people with authority should observe the ethics of self-control, which means even if somebody has hurt you and done something to you, you should not allow your emotions to take you over. You should be guided instead by your intelligence.
Professor Kaiwa advised the clergy to show love, care, and forgiveness to a repentant person and leave judgment to God.
So the new thing I want to bring into the mind of the church in general and to the world, that a person who continues to criticize somebody who has repented genuinely and in public does not know the value of repentance for which Jesus died and does not know the Bible. The blood of Jesus is more powerful than the laws of the world, the laws of churches, the rules of committees. The blood of Jesus is greater than everything.
All these were at a media discussion at the university main campus in Namirembe, Rubaga Division, in which Professor Kaiwa asserts that using social media platforms to elucidate in-house issues casts a bad image of the church.
And with that, we'll take a quick break. When we return, business news. You are watching News Tonight.
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go. From now on, we are not going to leave anything on our plates, because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
Yellow, Tell me, how do you do? We're here to show some appreciation for the things you do.
Thank you for today, and thank you for tomorrow. Thank you for every time and everywhere you go. We love you so, and we enjoy life with you. We are happy, happy, happy to know that we will go with you. That's why we say thank you, thank you, thank you, yeah.
MTN ekwebaza nti thank you olw'okutulonda mu bangi. Kozesa MTN mobile money bundles olw'empeereza ya MTN endala yonna weefunire thank you points gy'okoma okukozesa gy'okoma okufuna thank you points tweyama okubaweereza emyaka mingi egijja mu maaso nga tuli ffenna. Thank you.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Your safety while using electricity starts with having a certified technician to wire your premises. Do not use
socket. Chisaka, now that the wiring is complete, how do I get power?
No, I'll get you power in my own way. And you don't even have to worry about the bills. I'll bring them myself. Is your neighbor there?
She went to work.
Does she have power?
Yes, she has.
If your neighbor has power, you have power. Desist from illegal connections because they are not only dangerous, but could lead to prosecution and death.
Chisaka, what is this? Oh my God, I'm from Umeme.
I did not say Umeme. I am from Umeme. At Umeme, your safety is our top priority. Report illegal practices to Umeme when you detect them. Download the Umeme app for other services. Stay alert, stay safe, save lives. Umeme, powering Uganda.
Shopping needs, come to Capital Shoppers. We have a variety of items like foods, garments, cosmetics, and all sorts of drinks. Enjoy your shopping experience at affordable prices in our fully stocked branches in the following areas: in Tinder Station Road, opposite Makere Business School along Portbell Road, Duster Street opposite Nakasero Market, and Garden City on Yusuf Lule Road. To all our customers and suppliers, we thank you for your continuous support. Stay safe, wash your hands, sanitize, and wear your mask always.
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go. From now on, we're not going to leave anything on our plates, because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
Welcome back. Now in business news, government of the Republic of Japan, through its embassy in Uganda, have given Uganda a grant worth $36.8 million to help in the building of roads infrastructure in the refugee hosting communities of West Nile region, northern Uganda. Now the implementation of the project will be overseen by JICA in partnership with Uganda National Roads Authority, UNRA, with the funds channeled through the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, where the agreement was signed. Mark Woodlow has more.
The 3.82 Japanese yen grant worth 109 billion Ugandan shillings from the Japan government is intended to support the construction and improvement of national and feeder roads, plus a bridge in refugee hosting areas of West Nile sub-region, with an aim to promote economic growth and improvement of livelihoods of the people living in the communities.
In addition to being an important link in the response to the refugee situation, the road as well facilitates cross-border trade between Uganda, the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Republic of South Sudan, and the Central African Republic by connecting one of our districts called Koboko and Yumbe and the Moyo Road, which also proposed to be for upgrading to paved standard. Therefore, upgrading the road to Class B status will improve accessibility. Improved access will greatly aid activities related to provision of services to the displaced persons in the refugee settlements, among others.
The grant will prioritize to upgrade 23.6 kilometers of Yumbe-Manibe Road in Yumbe district.
So there is a lot of work we are doing together, and as you know, they've given us quite a big tranche of equipment, and also supported the construction, the upgrading of Gulu City Town Road. So there is a lot of activity taking place, and we're very happy to have partnered with them.
The planned implementation period for the project is estimated at 55 months, which amounts to almost 4.5 years.
Government of Uganda can build a new coral bridge, and lastly, improve feeder roads. As Your Excellency mentioned, we will use a labor-based technology, which is very unique, especially designed to build skills and create employment for the refugees, as well as people in the refugee host community.
To improve the road condition will make transportation faster, smoother, and safer. Trucks, cars, and boda, of course. Yes. And this is not the first road project in that region. We had similar projects in the past, and we also had some projects to improve the living condition in those areas, like making schools, clinics, etc.
Approximately 280,000 refugees are settled in West Nile, where Bidibidi Refugee Settlement, one of the biggest refugee settlements in the world, is located in. The recent inflow of refugees from South Sudan has increased pressure on the socio-economic infrastructure. On the sidelines, Finance Minister Matia Kasaija commented on a consultation letter making rounds on social media about taxing bank withdrawals.
Tax on withdrawal of money, I'm hearing this for the first time. I don't know why you're picking it. Yesterday we were talking about tax measures. I have not seen it as one of the tax measures. I'll check with my tax office. Do we have anybody here from taxation? None. I am hearing it for the first time.
Wadulo Mark Arnold for UBC News in Kampala.
In efforts to fight the rampant unemployment amongst the youth, the presidential initiative on empowering the ghetto youth has officially commissioned the Masiro Ghetto Group Washing Bay for support both financially and socially. The Masiro Ghetto Group Washing Bay in Lubaga Municipality has been officially commissioned by the Lubaga NRM Division's Treasurer, Sheikh Swaibu Musa Sentomero, accompanied by the NRM Administrator Tadeo Amanyide, among others.
Ghetto youth in Uganda are known for involving themselves in smoking marijuana, among other related uncouth behaviors. However, this might be a thing of the past in Lubaga Municipality, following the presidential initiative on empowering the ghetto youth, donating a washing bay to support these people socially and financially. The Masiro Ghetto Group Washing Bay is under the presidential initiative on empowering the ghetto youth, which is also targeting other areas in the municipality and Kampala metropolitan areas. The coordinator of the initiative in Lubaga Municipality, Jackie Nakalima, says the washing bay, donated by President-elect Yoweri Kaguta Tibuhaburwa Museveni, will support over 30 youth who have hitherto been jobless. Nakalima added that over 400 groups will benefit from this initiative and encourage the ghetto youth to avoid involving themselves in activities that are against the law, but rather embrace and support government programs aimed at poverty alleviation.
I used to first change their mindset. We are preparing sensitization workshops to sensitize them first so that we change their mindset from jobless to workers. Yes. We are planning to expand it because it has been moving in Kasokoso and other areas. Now it has been brought in Rubaga. We are planning to extend it throughout the 13 parishes in Rubaga to catch up with the number of unemployment in Rubaga specifically.
The Rubaga Municipality NRM Treasurer Sheikh Swaibu Musa Sentomero, while officiating at the commissioning of the Masiro Ghetto Washing Bay, commended President-elect Yoweri Museveni for his tireless efforts geared at curbing youth unemployment.
Uganda emyaka 5 gino mugenda kweyagala banna Uganda kubanga atandikiddewo.
Some of the ghetto youth at the Masiro Ghetto Washing Bay appreciated the President's initiative and pledged to stop engaging in activities that will put them in direct confrontation with the law.
Tukwagala nnyo amasada go awani gaweddewo ebyokutuula okuyamira muzeeyi nedda.
On the international scene, confrontation between China and the United States would be a disaster, and the two should re-establish means to avoid misjudgments. China's President Xi Jinping told Mr. Joe Biden on Thursday morning, February the 11th, in their first call since the American president took office on January 20th. Cooperation is the only correct choice for both parties, Mr. Xi Jinping said, according to a report from state broadcaster CCTV. China-US cooperation can accomplish many great things, while confrontation will definitely be a disaster for both countries and the world, he said. Uganda under-20 national team, the Hippos, will conduct its first training session this afternoon in Mauritania. The team will compete in the Total AFCON under-20 finals. The 25 players and 9 officials traveled Wednesday morning aboard Egypt Air after a camp in Tanzania. The Hippos played 2 friendly matches against Tanzania under-20, where they won the first match 1-0 but fell 5-3 to their opponents in the second fixture.
With a delegation of 25 players who are all in good condition. We are going to be accommodated at Sunset Hotel, and we do expect to play our first match on the 15th by 1 p.m. In fact, it's going to be the first match. In Uganda, it will be around 3 p.m. We are safe, and we shall be updating you all the proceedings as we go. Thank you very much.
Well, that does it for news tonight. Thank you for sticking with us throughout the hour. Elizabeth Nakakoni on sign language. I am Rhoda. Ngonzi will leave you with the weather update.
Yes, I'm glad to have you join me. A very good evening. My name is Molen Kenyana, and I will be taking you through tonight's weather report. Well, after a couple of days with mostly sunny and dry conditions, we had some rains throughout last night into the early hours of today morning, we had Jinja reporting a total of 18 millimeters, Kampala 12 millimeters. We also had some light rains from Lira totaling up to 2 millimeters. Now looking at our satellites, we still have those dry winds coming in from north of our continent, mostly through Siberia and Sahara Desert. That is bringing us hazy conditions, most especially across the northern sector. Now at the same time, we're seeing that we have those rain-bearing clouds extending towards our country, and that explains the rains that we have mostly across parts within the southern sector. Now, Friday morning brings with it mostly a bright and sunny day, and that will be across much of the country. We do have sunny intervals, though, across Midwestern, and rainy conditions are forecast across the central part of the Lake Victoria Basin, and thunder showers for the western part of the Lake Victoria Basin. Later in the afternoon is when we expect more rains across southwestern Uganda, a similar trend across the Lake Victoria Basin, but also in the country we can expect to maintain sunny intervals. Now, our daytime highs, we have a maximum of 28 for Kampala. A very warm day across Soroti, we have a maximum of 32. And warmer than that, though, even across northern Uganda, we will see a maximum of 33 degrees. Now, looking at some of the cities we have for you across the world, we are forecasting sunny intervals for Mombasa, a very warm day at 30 degrees. We're also likely to have Moscow going below freezing point, with a snow forecast at negative 13 degrees, and a sunny day is forecast for Dubai, as well as Paris, with Dubai going up to 28 degrees. And that nicely brings us to the end. Thank you very much for keeping us company. Have a good night.
Brought to you by
At Umeme, your safety is our top priority. Report illegal practices to Umeme when you detect them. Download the Umeme app for other services. Stay alert, stay safe, save lives. Umeme, powering Uganda.